Alright, I didn't think I'd ever see one of these again. Yeah, Cobra 50 XLR. So this is actually another one that was sent in. I think the person who sent this in saw the video that I had posted about repairing, recapping that other 50 XLR and decided to send this in. So while I can't divulge too much information because this is going to be a gift for somebody, this person decided to send me in this Cobra 50 XLR for repair so that way he can gift it to his friend who is going to be putting it into, let's just say, a classic vehicle. Yeah, again, I don't want to divulge too much information, but yet I still wanted to make a video about this. So I'm not going to give the person's name or location or anything specific like vehicle type. Just in case, both parties watch my channel or, whatever. I don't want to ruin the surprise. So we'll just leave it at that. But this one does have, well, first it came to me without the knobs, so I'm assuming the customer must have the knobs at home or wherever. And it looks like this is a new microphone. It only has a slight little dent up there, but all in all, it's a really good, physically in good shape microphone. However, so I've already been checking this out to see what it needs. When I plugged this in, everything seemed to work. The CB came on, the channel display came on, AM, FM worked. I had plugged it into kind of like a half-assed antenna, and it was actually receiving nicely. CB did come on. It was keying up. I did get a 4-watt carrier, but it was not modulating. So you guys will see why in a minute. So he had also asked me to label the wires, what speaker connections, power, etc. So I did that. So this one here is actually, when you look at a more modern radio, each speaker is going to have both its, negative and positive. This one here, on this specific radio, you just have the positives. So one wire is for the right rear, left front. This one here is left rear, right front. So what Cobra wants you to do, and it ends up being the same, they want you to connect everything to a common. So this is not only the negative, it's also the common. So that's where you're going to hook up if there's any confusion as to why you only have one wire for each speaker. That's what you want to do. And this is actually, I didn't label it. I'll put a label on it just in case. But this is a remote power, so you can use this to power a power antenna, which were big back in the day. I mean, some cars still have them, but now you got those low profile antennas, so you don't really see too many power antennas. But anyway, for that, or in some instances, if you want to run some sort of amplifier, or just turn on anything remotely, this is what you would use. So when you turn the radio on, this feeds the 12 volts to whatever thing you need remotely powered on. That's why it's called a remote. And what else? Yeah, so to get back to all the modes, FM was working, AM was working, CB was working. I got a carrier without modulation. That's whatever, low DX and monitor. So the tape was working, but it wouldn't actually turn the cassette tape. So it would come on and it would want to work, and it would just kind of like stall out. So I ended up taking a look inside, and the belt was actually seized up. It was stuck on one of the pulleys. I believe it was the little motor pulley. So it was preventing it from turning the cassette tape. So I got that unstuck, and sure enough, the cassette started to play. So that's a good thing. But it was a little bit on the dry side. So I got a whole kit here of different sized belts. So I got this on eBay. I thought it was coming from the United States, but apparently this thing came to me from Thailand, of all places. So it is what it is. So now this here, yeah, so I was getting a carrier, but no modulation. So open this thing up, and somebody had disconnected the element cartridge, whatever you want to call it. So I decided to resolder the wires back on, and you know, it still wasn't working. So unfortunately, as good as this thing looks, it had a bad element, and it took me a while to actually find one that could fit inside. So let me get this open and we can get into the details of finding something to make this thing work. All right, stand by. Okay, so when I open this thing up, this is exactly how I found it, with these two wires unsoldered, just hanging there. And the element is in here. So you can see that it's not your normal microphone, obviously, because of the board for the actual CB, for the channel display and whatnot. It's built into the microphone itself. You know, you got the big channel selector switch and the squelch, right? That's squelch, yeah, squelch. So you have some circuitry built into here which shrinks this element down to that. So take that off, there's the element that's inside there. I tried resoldering these wires back to those two pads to see if I had modulation, and I did not. So what I did was I just took a microphone that I had laying around, connected it over to the two microphone, to this blue and black wire here, and sure enough, I got modulation back. So now, while I got the issue diagnosed and found out what would repair this, the problem was finding an actual element that's going to be able to fit in there, and that was challenging. So let me try getting this out without see if it'll pop out one hand. No. All right, let me get this out and you guys can see exactly what size this thing is. All right, stand by. All right, so here's the stock element. So this one here is about, for the metric system, guys, this is about 19 millimeters, which is about the equivalent of 3/4 of an inch. So that was the challenge, finding something like this with the same impedance. So this is a 600 ohm dynamic microphone. Now you can get different, you know, I could have gone with an electric, whatever you want to call it, style, but it just makes things more difficult. So the hunt was on to find just your standard condenser dynamic style cartridge element. So I found this one here is 15 millimeters, and this is the one. It took me a while to find, so I actually got two of them just in case. You never know, you might mess one up. I bought two of them just to, or in case maybe one came faulty. So this is an overseas. I had to get this over in China. And yeah, so that's that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go retrofit this into this, replace this, get that out, and possibly maybe glue this into this this bushing, or whatever you want to call this frame, for the actual cartridge. So I'm gonna go do that now. I'll probably cut this out right at that seam and then glue this inside of there. So then that way I can just slide that back into there. Sorry, the lighting in here is a little dark, but that's the plan, and I think it'll work. Yeah, I tried to find the same impedance, 600 ohm. So, all right, let me get that done, and then we can actually test this out and see how well it's modulating. We'll put it on we'll see how it's doing on the scope as well. And I think this is going to be the best way, even though it's a bit smaller, it's about 5 millimeters smaller. I think it's going to work just fine. All right, stand by. All right, so I was able to cut around with a utility knife, cut around that seam that had existed there between this piece and that piece, and I actually was able to pull out the element there. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is hot glue that piece onto this piece, and then super glue that onto that piece, and that should be able to fit right in there. So could I have just maybe thrown that right in there and just filled up the space with hot glue? Yeah, I probably could have done that, but I think this is going to get this is going to give you a little bit more professional results this way, kind of make up for that difference, and then actually be able to use this cover as well, put that back on. So I think this is the best way to go ahead and to go about fixing this this element. So all right, let me get that done. I'm going to hot glue that piece onto that piece, let that dry, and then glue that onto that piece, and then wire this thing up, and we'll see if see how well it's going to be modulating. All right, stand by. All right, here it is, retrofitted into the other frame, or the other case around the other element. So fits pretty good. All right, so now let me get this soldered in place, get these two wires connected, solder that in place, and we can actually see how well this thing's modulating. All right, well, I got it back together, and this is looking good. This is a really good looking microphone. So let me rather than me whistling, let me get a tone going to it. Actually, let's check the. So we got like a 4.5 watt carrier. Pretty close. Get that better though. We're on channel 19, by the way. All right. Let me get a tone here. So we got right around 12, 13-ish or so peak. Audio. Yeah, it's hitting around 15 with a good whistle. All right, let me, let's see what it looks like on the scope. Hopefully this image will stabilize. Of course it's not. All right, hold on. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's looking good right off the bat, so this doesn't look like anybody's really messed with it, so that's a good thing. Yeah. Right around 12. Yeah, we got 12 PEP. Alright. Alright, another issue we have here is a stuck meter, which is usually no problem. Get that straightened away. Put an LED in there as well. And then I'll sort through these belts here for the tape drive, and get that straightened away. So let me get this opened up, and we can actually see how hard it is to swap out one of these belts. I've never done one, so let's see. All right, so this thing actually had two belts, but it's actually not that difficult to do. So thank God, because this could have been a nightmare. But anyway, so the way this is, this goes, this is just like this, and it's kind of spring loaded here, but there's a screw there and there's a screw there. You take those two screws out, and this, like I said, is spring loaded. It's going to pop up on you, and then you're going to take the big belt off first, or the longer belt, because that's on the top. That rides on the top pulley right in there. And then down in there, you're going to see like a bearing, or whatever you want to call that. That's the hole for the bigger pulley here. So that shaft, this shaft on this pulley here, or whatever you want to call this thing, it's drive or gear or whatever, pulley, goes right in there, and it just slides right in and out. So it's not like it's pressed in or anything. You just have to grab a couple of screwdrivers and just pull it up. Yeah, there's no, it's not like a press fit or anything, and it's that easy. And then the lower belt, that smaller, the smaller belt, rides along there on that, on the back side of that pulley. So this thing sits like this. So you can see there's two grooves. Longer one goes on the top, and the shorter one goes on the bottom. And it's that easy. So yeah, this thing was pretty brittle. Like I stated, you can kind of see it's hardened, but one of these rounded parts here was actually stuck to that drive right there, this brass pulley right here, and that's what was stuck. So let me get these two belts in, and we'll test the tape out, make sure that it's working properly. All right, stand by. All right, well, look in there. Right smack in the middle of the screen. Got those recapped. That board, 1, 2, 3, 4 caps there. This up here, that board's been recapped. There's quite a few of them in there. And now, I think I'm gonna start working on the rear board here. Start doing these caps, and then I can physically put this top back together, kind of squeeze this back together, and then I can go ahead and do the main board there on the bottom. There's enough slack on the wires to kind of flex that out at like a 90-degree angle, and you can get at the main board that way. I wish that this wouldn't be so difficult if Cobra actually put more plugs, more of these header plugs in. It would make a hell of a lot easier servicing this radio if it were a little bit more modular than what it is. Because some of the wires are zip tied up. I know you guys can't really see in there, but a lot of these wires are zip tied and just very difficult to get to. And unless you're starting, unless you're on an assembly line or you're assembling this radio, it's very difficult to see exactly where these wires are going to. So if you have to unsolder something, it's, because a lot of the wires are soldered in place, and you can't, unlike these plugs, you can't just unplug them. I wish there were more header pins on the main board to take this apart and just, make things easier. Like when you look at this board in the back, you have a header plug there, and then you have, if you look, sorry, the lighting's a little weird here, but so you have some of these pins here, where you can just pull the wires off, and this board kind of comes out okay. It's the antenna coax is soldered in place to a chassis ground, but at least you're able to pull it off. You just kind of do 1, 2, 3 wires with pins, and then the header, and this thing unsolder this. So that right there actually gets soldered to the back side of this. So you have to spread that open and then unsolder that from that side. And then that back board comes off. You know, it's not so difficult to do in the back, but the rest of the radio is a pain in the butt to do. But it's getting done. I think that it would be a hell of a lot easier, like I stated before, to have this a little bit more modular, a little bit more easier to service. But, you know, that could probably be the reason why Cobra assembles it this way, is to make it kind of virtually impossible to service and, you know, make you buy another one. But unfortunately, you know, you can't buy another one of these. So you kind of just roll with the punches, as they say, and just do the best you can. So I try to take out as much as I can without making a big confusion out of this. Because if you start unsoldering stuff just to, you know, get at the that main board, this main board that's down here laying flat, I think it's you run the risk of not being able to put the wires back in place without making this a true headache. So, yeah, the way I do it is exactly like this. I take the sides. Basically, you're going to undo every single screw that's on the side of, all around the radio. On the back side, the left side, the right side, whatever you want to call it. You're going to unscrew every single screw. And then you're going to have to kind of spread this thing open, you know, both sides. And then you're able to get the main board. Like I said, you can kind of flex it out to like a 90-degree angle where you can get at everything. But if Cobra just made this a little bit more modular, see, this whole top slides out, and it's almost, you know, you're almost able to slide this thing out. But like I said, they make it so difficult with the wiring. It's so tough to get to. You can only kind of like move it out just enough to get at some of the components. So, but you know what? It is what it is. I didn't, you know, I'm not the engineer that designed this. So, you know, you got to kind of deal with it. But I think next is to do this board, recap this board, and then I'll get that main board done. All right, stand by. All right, so the back is put together and recapped. The top is back on. Make sure when you run this, you run that the right way. That's the little indicator for the frequency. Always helps to take pictures. So now, like I had stated, there's enough slack on this main board here to get these caps done. So now you're looking at this, probably wondering, like, how the hell do you get to these adjustments here? So you actually do it from this side of the board here. You see all the holes. Yeah, this is where they're done. So fortunately, if you have the Sam's manual for this, everything is labeled. If not, good luck to you. You're never gonna be able to align this thing without the Sam's manual. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. So I'm at the final leg here on recapping. So yeah, just this last board here, and I can finally put this back together and go through the alignment process. So yeah, this is I know I've said it before, but this is a really tough radio to recap. It's not necessarily, you know, the caps themselves. The boards are actually a really nice unit in boards. You know, the caps come out pretty easy. It's getting to the caps that's pretty difficult. So anyway, let me get at the final board here, and we'll take it from there. All right, stand by. All right, that main board is recapped. Yeah, quite a feat getting this radio recapped. But anyway, it's done. Whole radio's recapped. Just have to Put some thermal paste on those two heat sinks. Bend that back down and just re-secure everything. Make sure no wires are pinching. That's a big thing to look out for. You definitely don't want to pinch anything and then have something not work, or because this is going back into a mobile setup, have something rub through. So it's very important to make sure that none of the wires are chafing and that they're going through the actual spots they're meant to go through. And yeah, that's really about it. So next step is to, like I said, get this all back together, and then put this, we'll go do the usual tests that I do. We'll do a transmit, receive test, make sure the radio is working, AM, FM, as well as the cassette tape. And yeah, that's really about it. So, all right, stand by while I get this back together, and we'll take it from there. All right, it's all back together and looking great, I think. I got the chrome lightly polished. I didn't want to polish it too much because you run the risk of having it having the copper coating underneath this show through. So I used that purple. It's actually called purple, from California Custom. Seems to be a little bit on the less gritty side, and it does a great job polishing up these plastic chrome pieces without wearing them down to the copper. So anyway, yeah, this radio's looking good. I went with a incandescent bulb in here because when I put the LED in, it just looked out of place. And to make this thing all original, to match like the other lights and stuff, the incandescent bulb is the way to go. Keep everything as original as possible, or original looking as possible. Yeah, the LED just kind of looked out of place. So, but oh, it's looking good. It's working great. So here's the caps. Ton of caps. There's the two belts that came out of the radio. You can see they're kind of stiff. But this one here, so there's two types of belts. There's a square belt. So if you take of course it's not going to focus, but if you take a cross section of this, it's actually square. It's not flat. And then they also make flat belts. So this particular radio uses the square belts. So if you're doing any type of tape deck at home, you got to confirm what type of belt you have, whether you have the flat belt or the square belt. So yeah, anyway. And then these are I took these off, but this is what you're going to use to space out the depth there. So this radio only had one here, but what you can do is, depending on your application, you can go to like a Home Depot or your Lowe's, or your local hardware store or whatever, and you can actually get some like irrigation pipe or PVC pipe, or even sometimes if you go to like the lamp section, if you have like a good hardware store that has like those pull-out hardware drawers, you can find spacers in those hardware drawers, and you can space this out accordingly. Sometimes you need them, sometimes you don't. But yeah, that's what that belongs to, and then you lock them in with these two nuts. But yeah, it's looking good, sounding good too. So let's do our tests. We'll do the actual radio test. So we'll do the FM, we'll do the AM. I have kind of like a makeshift antenna here, which it'll work for now. It's kind of jerry-rigged, but we'll get reception. And we'll test out the tape. Again, I'll pull out my trusty free bin from the Goodwill store here. This is Rapmasters 5 or 6, the best of the beat. So we'll put that in there and see how that sounds. All right, well, let's see what's going on here. So we're on FM.
Sandwich like a steak, egg, and cheese bagel, and get another one for $1.
So I only have my one speaker hooked up to this, so it actually sounds pretty decent. But you know, when you get all 4 speakers hooked up, obviously you're going to get way better sound. But
New home trends where every piece
sounding
is
good
handmade
anyway.
for quality at attainable prices and get free.
Listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15.
Okay. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well,
Anybody else playing the whole October I refuse to turn the heat on game? I was in for it for a bit until I realized we were walking around in sweatshirts and I had a blanket cover me. I'm like, you know what? I can't.
It is kind of cold all of a sudden.
Last weekend. And of course it's going to be in the 70s this weekend.
What I don't want is to get flagged for copyright reasons. So I'll kind of, if a song does come on, I'll just kind of do the 5 seconds and then move on.
Diamonds. Sometimes when I close my eyes, 6 months of poetry sold to some
Next door, you know.
on Disney Plus, it's the 2024 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
I'm a rock star now!
Honoring these iconic inductees. Cher, Mary J. Blige, Ozzy Osbourne, Dave Matthews Band.
Little classical music.
Did you have that little thing? Or Slime's panicking?
She got on Payless, I got skater shoes. I'm shopping for the chillers, and it's something that's cheaper.
Paul McCartney.
And that's how it works. But if you does play, you know what I'm saying, we could play this again. Okay.
Everything they recommend.
As a theme.
Alright, well, kind of get the idea.
The devil made me do it.
Go to AM.
You know, God has angels for everything. There's an angel in charge of the water supply in the world. He's the minister of water for the world. Kevin Brennan told he's traffic on the 3.
10:30 is the news on AM here.
And we just see a high to 60s, starlit moonlit tonight, quite breezy again, mid to upper 30s in the coldest burbs. And then tomorrow, we are really warming up, mid-60s with plenty of sun, still breezy.
It's New England weather for you. If you don't like it, wait 10 minutes. Alright, well that's AM. Let's go back to FM here. Alright, let's put a tape in. Put in the old Rap Masters Best of the Beat. Rap Masters 6. It's Easy E for those who don't know.
For doing the crime, fourth offense on the boy, he'll do some time. Cause the boys in the hood are always hard. You come talking that trash, we'll pull your car. Knowing nothing, I ain't said nothing yet.
Let's fast forward a bit.
Comes here and do me a favor. It all happened and the guy tried to choke her. Pusher didn't care, she ain't nothing but a smoker. That's the way it goes, that's the name of the game.
It's NWA. Again, hopefully I won't get flagged for copyright. I don't think I'm playing them long enough to get flagged, but you never know. Alright, well, I think you guys get the idea. Tape deck's working great. And that's it. So now let's go to the CB pot. When you click on the CB, that comes on. And in case for those who are wondering, Squelch is up there, and on the channel dial is there on the side. So let's, do I have this? I do not have this hooked up on here. So let's do, we'll do our transmit test first, because I got this hooked up on the transmit. Yeah, on the dummy load. All right, so let's see what we're doing here. All right, just under like 4.2 or so. Yeah, 4 watts. Audio. Again, I'm not a great whistler, but let's see if this image will stabilize here with this. All right. Hold on. That's a beautiful waveform. Yeah, nice. And we got about, what's that? Yeah, 12 watts PEP. So, perfect. Yeah. All right. It's going to be a good sounding radio. All right, so now let me get this hooked up to the signal generator, and we can see what it's doing for sensitivity. All right, stand by. All right, let's actually see how it sounds on the monitor radio. So I'm on channel 31 today because there's a ton of skip coming in. So let's see how this thing sounds. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, audio. Testing out this Cobra 50 XLR. Sounding pretty good, I think. Testing out this Cobra 50 XLR. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sounding good? Sounding really good, actually. This Cobra 50 XLR is sounding pretty damn good. Yeah, so that's sounding pretty damn good, you know, for not having a, I'd say like a regular style mic. You know, this thing's sounding pretty damn good. Let me try changing channels again. Hold on. This is...
Yeah, Deer Slayer, man, use those two guys.
Man, everything is packed today. All right, I'll try 23. Man. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, audio. Testing out this Cobra 50 XLR. This is a AM, FM, tape deck, and CB all in one. This is going into a pretty cool vehicle as well, so I'm really happy with the way this thing came out. Yeah, it's looking good, sounding good, performing well. Yeah, we got a good radio right here. So, all right, guys, let's move on to the next test. We'll see what she's doing for sensitivity, and we'll take it from there. All right, stand by. All right, got an S9 going to her. All right, channel 19. All right, let's see what it's doing. See what she's doing for sensitivity. It's minus 110. Okay, it's minus 110 right there. 111, 12, 13. 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. Yeah, almost 100 minus 113 dBm. This is a really good listening radio. So, yeah, it's really I'm really impressed with the performance of this radio here. So, you got, honestly, if you're going to be restoring like a vehicle of this vintage, you know, of the probably like the mid to late 70s, and you're looking for something to put in, you really can't go wrong with this. You know, especially if you're looking for something with a CB, everything, an all-in-one unit. These Cobra 50 XLRs are definitely good, and you know, perform well. You know, with the on the CB band, so just as good as any other standalone CB radio, if you ask me. So yeah, and you get this pretty cool all-in-one package. Of course, you have to worry about the space. You know, it is bulky, it is heavy. So you do have to support this in the back, you know, with that stud that's there. You just can't let this hang off of the two front, you know, studs there, because the radio will definitely break. So weight-wise, what could this weigh? I'd say 5 to 7 pounds, somewhere around there. Yeah, something like that. So, yeah, that's the only thing you'd have to really worry about. But if you're working on a car that vintage, chances are you're going to have space in there, because the radios, anyway, of this vintage are about this size. You know, and some of them are even bigger. So space wouldn't normally be too much of a worry. Of course, it depends on the car or the truck you're working on. But, yeah, this is such a good radio, huh? I'm really happy that I got to do another one of these. Kind of a pain in the butt to recap, but, you know, all in all, I'm just happy for where this is going, you know, and who. So this is, I think I stated it in another clip, but this is a Vietnam vet. This is going to be given to a Vietnam vet who was a fireman as well. I think he said he was an LA fireman. Don't quote me on that, but I think definitely out in California. So yeah, it's pretty cool, you know, and the vehicle it's going in as well. But if the person wants to, the person who sent me this is probably going to be watching this video. You can actually leave in the comments, you know, any details about this person and what it's going in. I'll leave it up to the person to put it in, just in case. You know, I don't want to ruin a surprise for anybody. But yeah, whoever this is, leave it in the comments, and you can actually in detail, and people can actually read, see what this is going in, and you know, the person that you're giving this to. All right, let's get this up on the air, and we'll do some channel surfing. There's lots of skip coming in, and I'll try to get a radio check. And yeah, we'll take it from there. All right, stand by. All right, let's start at channel 1 here, and we'll go right up the band. So are you playing banjo music now? Great. Wow, that guy was bleeding over like 3 channels.
Down here in Louisiana, it's working.
320 Boston, Massachusetts, waving a hand. 320 Boston, Massachusetts. Anybody got a copy on me? 320 Boston, Mass.
865, have a good one.
Ba ba ba.
Good morning again from this end. Silver Dawn 191.
Yeah, 320 Boston, Massachusetts, waving a hand. 320 Boston, Massachusetts, waving a hand. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough day. It's busy. Alright guys, so they're going to end it here. But there you have it, a Cobra 50 XLR ready to be put back into a nice classic vehicle. Alright guys, thanks for watching.